Mboneni's family. I see his humility, I see a bright Zimbabwe, I see a bright future, I see a president who has got people at heart. We didn't even see Mnangagwa, in as much as ZANU-PF tried to steal, sorry, in as much as ZANU-PF tried to steal the body, we thought Kuti they were going to own the funeral, and we thought Kuti would even see the leadership if they think Mboneni was killed by CCC people. They were supposed to be there. It proving to the world that the CCC killed Mboneni, but this did not happen. We know ZANU-PF is very good at propaganda. They can say anything, but what's good for us, Pet, is the power of social media. Every lie that they try to tell is destroyed by social media. Everyone now, sorry, someone is trying to phone me. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Hi,
Um,
Pet.
yeah, it's okay. You can go ahead.
Sorry, someone is trying to phone me, so it's disturbing my space. Sorry about that. So I was saying, Kuti, if ZANU-PF wanted to erase the fact that Mboneni was a citizen. So they knew, Kuti, if the citizens took over the burial, it was going to be yellow even at the funeral. So they didn't want that. They killed Mboneni thinking it will end there. But I would want to thank the CCC family for what they did. They contributed for the burial of Mboneni, and Mboneni received a very decent send off, which is what we stand for. If you are we are the leadership that has got its people at heart, then could the country can develop, or the country will develop. The Zimbabwe needs people. Zimbabwe needs leaders that have got people at heart, not selfish leaders who only think about themselves. Look at these Mashurugwis. They now think they own Kwekwe. Even people, innocent people who own claims in Kwekwe, the gold claims in Kwekwe, they cannot mine freely because of these thugs, because of these terrorists. So it's like Zimbabwe is no longer safe. Zimbabwe is like we are at war. And I don't know, Pet Kuti, when will the international community, when will the SADC, the AU, declare that Zimbabwe is in a crisis, declare that we are not free in our own country? It's so sad that these things are happening. And I know one day this shall come to pass.
Thank you. Are you still speaking?
No, I'm done, Pet.
Thank you so much. I think the answer to, when the international community will intervene is that Zimbabwe is seen as a sovereign country. And so they respect that. I remember having a conversation, or I was in an event that was attended by the British ambassador to the UK, and I asked a question about a character that works within ZANU-PF, and who actually are complicit in the human rights atrocities that happen in the country, and they are a British citizen, and what their views were around that. And one of the things they said to me was, it's very difficult because the British law protects people. So if any action is to be taken against someone, they would have had to do something that was really major. And so because of that, where countries are sovereign, it's very difficult for them to intervene. It's all diplomacy, so they have to be very diplomatic. It's got to be meetings. It's got to be done under the laws of that country and the agreements that all these countries have in how they work and interact with one another. And so I think they do something, but they cannot intervene beyond a certain point. And this is where we citizens come into play, where we citizens need to stand up as citizens to speak out, and to fight in the various ways in which we fight. So in Zimbabwe, it's using the constitution and the peaceful protests, which we know never work, because we are talking with now, and we saw what happened at a rally that the CCC movement legally and constitutionally have the right to do, but can never get it done in the way it should, because the regime will always intervene. So there's real challenges there. But I'm going to stop there for a minute now. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to play us another song, because it's, it's Friday vibes with Change Radio. And, with our hero, Barry, today, we also want to celebrate what he did. And by being at that rally in Kwekwe, and that was really brave of him, having been there, and we need to keep that fight. We need to continue fighting the fight that he started, so that we can arrive to the destination. If we look biblically, we are going towards Canaan, and that's where we need to be. So I'm just going to play a song. Please put your hands up if you want to speak, and we'll give you the mic. So it's not just me and my co-host speaking. Everybody should be speaking. So let's listen to this song by DJ Carol.
Remember the day when you had a dream for your children for a better Zimbabwe. The time has come, the time is right now for a change, for a better Zimbabwe. The time has come, the time is right now for a change, for a better Zimbabwe. Simulka, 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 Zimbabwe, Zimbabwe, Simulka, 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 Zimbabwe, the healthcare system is broken, but your health should be a priority. Your children have a right to an education. Oh wait, they should be your number one. Simulka, 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 Zimbabwe, Simulka. The yellow revolution has a dream for a nation, not a maze. Simulka, Zimbabwe. The yellow revolution has a Simuta Zimbabwe, Johnny, Simuta Zimbabwe.
So thank you so much to all those that are joining us on Change Radio tonight, Friday Vibes and Yellow Friday. And we're just talking really, it's open mic. Started talking about Mboneni Ncube and that gruesome murder that was witnessed in Kwekwe, and the fact that he's survived by a young wife and an 8-year-old child. And we are calling out the human rights atrocities that are committed by the regime. And by open mic, everyone is welcome to request the mic and to speak. And so, was there anything else you wanted to mention on here, co-host Barbara, before we move on? I wanted us to talk a bit about Vice President Miti and what we witnessed at his home.
No, I think let's move on, Pat. Right
Okay.
now, where I am, there is noise. I'll speak after you.
Okay, thank you. So we've got Mambo Shoshe. Do you want to go ahead, Mambo Shoshe?
I'll speak in a minute, Pat. I'm trying to get away from the meeting that I am, but I'm just listening.
Okay, thank you so much. So while we wait for our speakers to come back on, I just wanted to touch on the violence that we saw again at Ccc Vice President BT, where his home was attacked by 4 men with axes and machetes, and his security guard was badly injured. And so those are some of the things I think that we are going to be witnessing as we head into 2023. And this violence has really been to deter the CC movement supporters, the CC movement members and leaders from by-elections. So firstly, the by-elections campaign, but more specifically, starting that intimidation so that people can just cower away and not attend rallies, not engage in the political processes, not engage with the electoral processes, stay home. And what that means is that come 2023, the regime will march back into government, the regime will march back into parliament, because they would have deterred others from participating and choosing the leadership that they want. So it's, I think it's really sad to have to go through the same scenarios, the same challenges year in and year out, witnessing the same issues that we saw back in the 80s. So thinking back to Gukrahundi and what was experienced in Gukrahundi, and this has just been a continuation of 42 years of human rights abuses. And I think looking into the future rallies, so tomorrow it's in Yellow Skies, it's in Bulawayo, and we are hoping that will go without any incidents. But security has to be tightened, because we can never know how the regime will react, because they will want to disrupt that. And then after Yellow Skies, after the Bulawayo rally, they will be in Ukoba, Gweru. So really going around Zimbabwe and campaigning for the by-elections, but also for the future. So I'm just going to pause there for a moment just to see if the speakers can speak now. And if not, I'm going to go back and play that wonderful song by DJ Caro, because I think it's got a lot of meaning in there. She says, Simuka, Zimbabwe, Simuka, rise, Zimbabwe, rise. I think there's a time and point where Zimbabwe will rise. And I think for all of us, the hope is that 2023, next year, is the year that Zimbabwe rises. And DJ Carroll goes on to say, Chamisa Simudza Zimbabwe, Chamisa raised Zimbabwe. So we know that he is the hope of the people of Zimbabwe, and his message just fits in with what Zimbabwe wants: people-centered, citizen-focused, thinking about the citizen and putting the citizen at the center of everything. So I'll play that. When you're ready to speak, please just start speaking and I'll stop the music.
Nothing is playing there. I don't know if it is me only.
The healthcare system is broken.
Did you want to speak then now, or are you still in a position where you can't speak?
No, I can go ahead and speak, but the song wasn't playing.
Oh, it was playing. I was on mute. I muted
Oh,
myself. So
okay.
go ahead. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Patricia and co-host for having this discussion. It was said to see one of ours being laid to rest, one more person dead, one more person gone. I think there are now over 3,000 people that have been killed in Zimbabwe in politically motivated violence. And, one person more is not acceptable. And I'm surprised that UK is not in the streets demonstrating, that North America is not in the streets demonstrating, UK, German, Australia, South Africa. We should be all in the streets. What do we want? What do we need? Do we need a pile of dead bodies all over Harare, all over Bulawayo, all over Mtare for us to take to the streets and protest? It's unacceptable that ZANU-PF can, wantonly continue to kill people, murder citizens, and then we don't do anything about it. What if you look at the history of the Arab Springs? It was one person, just one person, who triggered all that. One dead person was enough to trigger other people into a revolution. So we are still here. We're just watching. I'm telling you, ZANU-PF will say, okay, we can kill again. They will go to another place, they will kill. They will go to another place again, and they will kill. I think it's time that we need to start doing something. We need to start telling the world that this is what is going on in Zimbabwe, and it is unacceptable. I heard some people saying the international community should intervene, the international community this, that. But the international community can only come in when we have done our part as Zimbabweans. The international community doesn't just come. It's very difficult for other countries to just intervene, to just come in. If you look at Ukraine right now, not many countries have joined in. You know, Ukraine is not a member of NATO, but it is friends with America. It is friends with NATO countries. But with even with that kind of relationship, other countries cannot just come in and are not coming in as they should have been. Look at the carnage that is going on. Russia just went in, you know, unprovoked, and they're killing people. But no country is intervening, and we are still crying that we need other countries to come and fight our wars. Yes, I know it might sound a little bit brutal that I'm saying that, but it is us Zimbabweans who have to start this. It is us who have to go in the streets. It is us who have to be out there. So, and when we have done our part, other countries will see, as you see happening in Ukraine. If this situation continues, other countries can only come in when they've seen the natives, the people sacrificing and doing their part, doing something about their situation. And I'm not understating what Zimbabweans are doing, what Zimbabweans have done, but I'm just saying that for us to get freedom, for us to be free from ZANU PF, from these dictators, we will need to do more. We will need to go an extra step, maybe a few more extra steps, so that we can maybe attract the kind of help that we need. But it has to start with us. If you look for instance, right now,
Hello, what's happened to Mambo Shoshe? Have you gone on mute?
we have people that are enabling, you know, the ZANU PF regime. People
Okay, you seem to be having trouble, Mambo Shoshe. Are you dropping? Okay, it seems to be having problem. Can I come across to CC Diaspora Affairs, please? Would you like to speak?
Greetings, Sister Patricia. How are you? Greetings, co-host. I hope you are well as well. I saw Yellow Friday, Friday vibes. I thought we would be having vibes, but unfortunately, as Mambo Shoshe was saying, that a lot of events have happened since we held the first Yellow Friday until today. Um, it's so sad that whilst we were seized with other activities, like trying to help the kids who were stuck in Ukraine, ZANU PF was busy taking a life instead of saving lives at that moment. And it didn't end there. ZANU PF went forward to attack um, the security guard of Tendai BT. That can only be the acts of ZANU PF. I don't think anyone able is capable of such brutality. For me, that case of the security guard was quite disturbing. Why? Because he's a father, someone who say, let me go at least.
and then we become Zimbabwe to become, it's going to be very difficult. Yes, we are Zimbabweans are sacrificing right now. There are some that are doing more than others, but I'm saying we need to do.
Okay, I think it's dropped off. CC Diaspora, if you want to go ahead, let me just connect with him offline. Thank you.
Yes, yes, definitely. So I was saying, the security man of our VP had just gone to work like on any other day, but he met some thugs there who came to attack him with axes, and they even went there with a gun. And you wonder, um, what kind of country are we now living in, where you can just witness violence anyhow, including stuff like what happened when our comrade died. You come to a rally that has more than 10,000 people, and you just start attacking people, and there are 40 of you. All those things, they defy all logic. They are not supposed to be happening. And those are some of the things that when the new government gets into power, they need to address all those issues. Zimbabwe should be a safe place for everyone. Um, and that's what we hope to see. And we should also just keep praying and keep hoping that there won't be any violence over the weekend, because these rallies are continuing. But for me personally, I would say the reason why they are doing all this, it is because this is their last trick in the book. Only violence is left for them. When it comes to votes, we are going to defeat them left, right, and center. They don't have any support. They try to go. They tried vote buying. Vote buying is not working. People are just taking the stuff, but the triple C is becoming more and more popular. So vote buying failed to work. They tried to go and campaign. They tried busing people. Even after busing people from all over the country, they still have they still feel a small stadium like Rudaka Stadium after taking buses from everywhere. So it means they are now so unpopular that all the ZANU-PF supporters actually fit into Rudaka Stadium. So it's a party of the past. We shouldn't expect anything positive from those guys. And now their last card is violence. That's the only card that they are left with. But we are also going to be so resilient that despite all the violence and everything, we are going to kick ZANU-PF out in 2023. And that's what we hope to see. So since it's Yellow Friday and it's yellow vibes, I say let's not lose heart. Let's keep fighting. ZANU-PF can be defeated. They are even afraid to tell people to register to vote, because they know that on the vote they can be defeated. They are even afraid to let people gather on a rally, because they know that when people see the crowds, they are going to be defeated. They anything that they've tried, they are so afraid. Even if you send something and they hear it's coming from triple C, including hospital beds or such things, they say throw it away. Why? Because they know that they are going to be defeated, and ZANU-PF is going to be defeated. They go around claiming that we have destroyed the towns and cities. What? Whilst they've got the state power, they would have done something about all those situations. They've destroyed the raw areas. Now they want to reclaim the towns through by-elections, so that they can destroy the towns even further after the damage they did by imposing some minister of local government and taking power from the councils. So definitely ZANU-PF, the way it does stuff, the brutality, the violence, it has to be condemned. And another point that Chief Shosho was talking about, where he was saying international community, it's high time that we as Zimbabweans realize that we are on our own. A lot is happening in the world. Resources are going towards COVID, resources are going towards the Ukraine war, and a lot of things are happening. So definitely, we cannot just rely on the international community and expect what happened to some dictators in the past to happen. We should be fighting on our own, trying to bring change to our own country. That's what we are supposed to be doing at this moment. But I say, let's not lose heart. Let's attend the Yellow Skies rally in White City Stadium tomorrow. Let's go to Mat North and support our brother Prince Duweko Swanda. He is a hardworking man whom we know that will have mobilized a very strong rally in Binga there. So let's do our best to support these weekend rallies, and let's not forgive ZANU-PF for the deaths of our comrade. A lot of people have died for the struggle, and they should not die in vain. The only uh, um, recompense for this is when we deliver change in Zimbabwe. That's the only way we can say, yes, um, let our comrades' souls rest in peace. Right now, they can't rest when things are now like this. So over to you, host. I just said, let me come and add a few words. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that, CC Diaspora Affairs. Really appreciate all of the points that you touched on. And when you touched on the hospital beds, so that was a reality in Chirezi, where beds had been bought for a hospital and they were destroyed by the regime. But before we play another song, I'm just going to ask Hassan to come off mute and speak. So if you want to speak, please go ahead. Thank you.
Well, good evening, everyone. I hope I'm audible. I've been
Good
having
evening.
problems getting reception. I'm not sure if it's my network or if it's just on the space, but people have been going on and off, so I hope I'm audible. Um,
You
on
are.
Boneni, that that is heartbreaking as a nation. It's heartbreaking as DCC. It's heartbreaking as a fellow human being, first and foremost, because you don't expect such things to happen. And when something like that happens, it knocks in the reality that we are in a war. Um, as much as politics is a word for most people, when people begin to lose their lives, because with politics, we would understand when we invest our money, when we invest our time, but then when you ask to give your life for it, or when you are investing your life where there's a possibility that you can lose your life, then it ceases to just be politics of words. It becomes more of a war in a way, and it's sad to see that that happened. That's the first thing. My deepest condolences to his family, his friends, um, because also at the age that he was, it was very, very sudden and unexpected. Um, the second point that I would like to put out there on the same scenario is because we see that this is happening now, because we see that there is violence now, there is no question or doubt whether ZANU-PF is going to be violent with everyone or not. It's a given, and it's not that it started now. In 2008, we always talk about these stories of long sleeve, short sleeve, and the abuses, people being murdered. We speak of them as fairy tales sometimes, and so sometimes we're insensitive with them until maybe at least you meet the family or um, some of the bereaved. But when we look at it now, since 2008 until now, what have we ever really done? I understand one of my brothers was talking about the international community and marching and all that, because there have to be repercussions. There have to be repercussions for when someone loses their lives. We cannot move on to our day-to-day activities as if it didn't happen, or just pass our sympathy. There have to be repercussions, and if it's not going to come through the court, if it's not going to come through the government, then we have different platforms. We have different embassies around the world. We have different places like Twitter and all that. I think we really have to make noise when things like this happen, so that if it ever happens again, if there's ever an opportunity for them to do it again, they have to fear to do it because they would have faced something before. But now it's more like when it happens, we pass our sympathy, we say we're sorry, and then we move on. One of the most disappointing things for me this week was that instead of us really getting deep into this, we were distracted back into politics. It became a story about Kupe, it became a story about Dr. Washman Yube, it became all these other things, and then it made the funeral seem very little, like it's no big deal. I think that was a very big mistake. I was very disheartened by that because also we are the people who are still going to go to other rallies. And you need to know that if anything ever happens to me, people care. You know, there was always this saying in people, so a lot of people have always been scared to act because they think that if I act and something happens to me, no one is really going to care. And I think that we've groomed that culture by actually acting like we don't care. We act like it's normal, we act like we can move on. But then I think we have to come to a point now where if something like this ever happens, we have to be a force to reckon with. We have to be a force that causes nightmares on their side. We have to bring in the international community, not just by tweeting but we have to protest. We have to do things that will get the whole world engaged. That is, if we are scared of engaging ourselves. But then, before anyone else can engage, obviously we have to engage ourselves. Um, I don't know if it's fear within us or whatever it might be. But then, if we do not overcome that, we are just going to groom it. And grooming it hasn't done us any favors so far. I think when we lose lives, when there's violence like this, we really have to make noise. And I'm going to keep on reiterating that same point. We have to make noise about these things. They are not normal. It is not normal for someone to get their hand cut off. It is not normal for someone to die. It is not normal because that very same person could be anyone. It could have been my mother. It could have been your father, his sister, brother. It could have been you. So we we cannot treat this as normal. I think mainly on his issue. On his issue, that's what I have to say. Not just his passing, but then how we react. I hope that somehow we can have like communication with the leadership in the CCC because these things matter. These things really matter. When these things happen, okay, for my example, myself, if I were to give my life for a party, not just maybe not give my life optionally, but if it was taken away from me because of a political party, I would expect my family to be taken care of. That is the first thing. First and foremost, I live for my family. I expect my kids to still go to school. I expect my wife and kids to still have food on the table. So, what are we doing about these things? Do we show people that if anything ever happens to you because of this commitment, we are going to go all out for you because you are one of our own? So I really think that these are notes that we have to take. These are things that we have to change now, so that people stop being afraid of supporting the opposition. We have to show that it's okay to support the opposition. I'll leave it there for now. Back to you, host.
Thank you so much, Hassan, for that, and for some of the key points there that you make, um, in particular about the protests, and I know that in the UK, there is a group that has formed that are planning a protest, and this is both a face-to-face protest outside the Zimbabwe House at the embassy. And also online protests, and I think also Mambo Shoshed alluded to the fact that why are there no protests around the world? And there've been a few distractions, as you say. So some of the comments you made there around the coupe with people talking about that, and making it seem that the death and the murder of Mboneni was insignificant when it's really significant, and that should have been at the forefront of our minds in raising that to the attention of the world. But also, the sacrifice that is given He's got a widow, a young wife that hadn't even arrived at her home. She was expecting a life with her husband, and that's been snatched away. There's an 8-year-old child that is never going to know her father uh, ever again. So that's really sad, and hence why I wanted to talk about it today. We have to keep this at the forefront of our discussions. We have to continue to talk about these atrocities, because by talking about them, others hear about them and want to come in. But there is also apathy. So you asked as to, why there is a lack of engagement. I think there is apathy in some quarters, but there's also the fear. So we are doing these online protests, and people are not going to show their faces because they're afraid of the outcomes in Zimbabwe against their family members, particularly where they travel back home. So there's a myriad of issues as to why sometimes people don't get involved. But I think we shouldn't use that as an excuse. We should, particularly if you live in the diaspora, we should be out in our thousands on the streets, supporting those that are back home on the ground. I'm going to stop there and then just go to co-host Barbara and ask if you have any comments before we play a song, because we'd like to play a song. Whilst we're talking about the merger of Mboneni, we also want to celebrate him tonight. So if I can come to you, co-host. Are you able to speak, or are you still in a noisy place?
Okay, I thought I was speaking. I don't know what happened to my mic. Okay. Thank you so much, Pet. And I would like to thank our previous speaker on his contributions, which are very, 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 very valid. And also, when you speak about solidarity, Pet, I think this struggle that we are in, I don't know whether it's lack of knowledge or it's we people have not been conscientized enough to stand up for their rights, to stand up when one of us has been victimized or one of us has been killed. And also to say, Pet, people who are in the diaspora to say they are scared. Inine, I don't agree with that. Kuti, how can you be scared when you are in the diaspora? And yet people on the ground in Zimbabwe, they are they are participating. They know ZANU-PF kills, but if the people in Zimbabwe had the same mindset as the people in the diaspora, Pet, we should not be seeing anyone attending a rally or any meetings, Pet. What we want is also is to see the stadiums pegged, and then we start tweeting, tweeting, and this is what are we doing in the diaspora? And I don't agree with the notion to say people are scared because their families back home, and yet our families back home, they are fighting the regime day in, day out. So that's not an excuse. We are lacking somewhere. We are lacking. And President Chamisa said, this is the fourth Chimreng. If people think we are going back to the bush and the Chipata putting holding guns in the bush, this is a war. And this war is fought how? Is fought on social media, is also fought on the ground. So Isusu, people who are in the diaspora, we have got an advantage of internet, of Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi. Most of us, we have access to free Wi-Fi. And we should be using that as an advantage to champion this struggle. Look at the people that are here. Pakangoiswa kamwe ka topic, if you is a topic that has got nothing to do with the struggle, if it's put there, you'll see there'll be a lot of people there. Put a topic that is relevant to the current situation, we will not see the people coming. So this is the issue. This is the problem with us as Zimbabweans. I don't know how best can we do it, especially people in the diaspora. How best can we connect? How best can we coordinate to say if something like this has happened, we group and traveling is not even an issue, Pet. We can travel, but we are so busy. We it's like we don't care, but at the end of the day we want to see numbers. We want to see how President Chamisa addressed the rally at Y City, how many people were there, and then we start, you will start tweeting, and we'll start being happy to say, victory is certain, and yet we are not doing anything here in the diaspora. And also, I want to touch on the issue of the rally that is going to be in Cholocho, the rally, the ZANU-PF rally. If we have people with relatives in Cholocho, if I had a relative in Cholocho, Pet, I was going to pick up a phone and tell them not to go to that rally. And Cholocho was worst affected by Kukura wound. And then I have my brother-in-law who had his relative who was, he was, you know, the ears were cut. Right now he doesn't have the ear. I can say he's earless. They are just holes, Pet. They were cut. The ears were cut. The lips were cut during Kukura wound. This is one case that I know that happened during the Kukura wound era. And the people of Matebeleland, they should show Mnangagwa that we don't want you here because you killed our relatives. You have not even apologized. The people of Cholocho, they must do as like the people of Binga, who have defied all odds. Binga has never voted for ZANU-PF in their entire life. What's wrong with people in Matebeleland? There is an issue, an outstanding issue that is there. And I don't also buy to this notion that say they, they are scared. Scared of what? Scared of what? Why go ululate for someone who killed your relatives? And don't forget that during this Gukuraunde era, Mnangagwa was the Minister of Defense. He was in control. He is the one who commanded the soldiers to kill the people of Matebeleland and Miglens. So it's not even an issue of would they've forgiven him, because he's never, if you forgive, if you want to forgive a person, that person has to admit kuti akakanganisa, he sinned, he wronged you, and then you forgive each other. But how do you forgive someone who has never even uttered a word about Gukura, who have even not even apologized, who is busy putting his own people to cover up, who doesn't want the truth to come out? The Kukura Hundi agenda, the Kukura Hundi issue, it will never end. Pet, if there is no, if they continue put these commissions, the fake commissions that are appointed by Mnangagwa. So we continue our fight. We continue talking about Gukura Hundi. We continue, and we are saying if President Chamisa goes to the State House, the first issue that he must look at, the first issue that must be fixed is the Gukura Hundi issue. You can't move on when we have got people who are still crying. 30 years, 35 years down the line, people are still bitter. We have got children with no birth certificates. We've got old people with no birth certificates. Where he's going to address people of this. No identity. Their identity was stolen during that time, which is very, very unfortunate and sad. It's a very sad development, Beth. And we as the people, We need to show Mnangagwa, we need to show him that we are not happy. The people of Zimbabwe are not happy. And I'm so, I become so angry with these people that are given 2 cups of rice 5 years, after 5 years, and then they start singing, chanting slogans, ZANU-PF slogans, and then after when the elections are over, when they voted as ZANU-PF in, they disappear, and then they come again after 5 years. They vote again for ZANU-PF. I don't know whether the Zimbabwe is cursed. Is it a case or what? It's so sad. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that. It's very difficult to understand it, isn't it? But when we look at the rallies, the ZANU-PF rallies, and the people that go and attend those rallies, and ululate ZANU-PF, it's really sad. It's a sad state of affairs. And so they are bussed around from country to country, or from town to town, and given money. I think maybe $10 we hear, and then given lunch, and it's a sad state of affairs, because those are the very individuals without employment, and can't afford to take their children to school, can't afford medical fees, they have no pensions. It's they live in poverty. You can even see it etched on their faces, and yet they will still sacrifice to get onto those buses and to go into ululate, um, a a very uncaring regime, a very uncaring rulership that does not have the people at heart, that exists to siphon money out of the country, who are corrupt, and who are not building Zimbabwe. It's 42 years this April, and the whole infrastructure is completely destroyed. So that is sad. But I'm just going to ask Susan to come on, and speak. Thank you, Susan.
Hi, thank you guys. Yeah, I just want to say something anyway about what was ZANU-PF, like those people who attend the rallies, and So we understand that these people are being taken from some of the areas where are like deep rural areas, and you understand those areas. Sometimes they are being run by those subgroups, the chiefs. So some of these people they don't want to go, but they just have to do it because they're being forced to go. It's like, let's say if you're living in very deep poverty, they are told that if you don't go, you're not going to get some things like, donations which are being given in those rural areas. They are money allocated in those areas. So for the sake of them getting something, some people are just going. But what I gather that some people are going not because they are going to vote for ZANU-PF, they just go for the sake of peace. Because sometimes those areas where ZANU-PF is a stronghold can be very, very vicious areas. And we understand that they are far away from any media which can expose what is happening in those areas. So for the sake of peace, some people are so vulnerable in those areas, they end up going for the sake of their life and peaceful daily areas. And also, what I just wanted to talk about this issue of us supporting our our party, the CC movement. I think at the moment, I think we are going through rallies and different things, and we're for the election. I've been seeing certain groups which has been raising funds. I think some of the people are in diaspora we have been donating different things. I think it would be something good which if we continue to help as us people from diaspora to continue to support whatever we can on the ground, especially these times of elections, and also people who are going to the rallies. Yeah, there are some funds which have been raised. I think it's something which we can continue to do until we get the everything we need, because we are in a sort of like a long journey to get what we want. But definitely, I can see that our president will be at the state house. So for us to be part of it, we just need to continue to donate anything possible. And also about this child, I've seen this child of Bomeni Uwe. I think she must be 8 years old. It's so sad, really. I see some people are suggesting that maybe perhaps if we can do some raising funds for a school fees, which can carry on for a long period. And I was like, one of those people, I said to those people who are suggesting, I sort of like agree to that, because I think it's our duty as members to continue to support our members, so like the deceased and everything like that. I think I don't know. There are other people who have been doing that for a very long time, supporting children from those other members who passed away. Uh, it could be the violence during violence elections. So I think it is our duty to support each other in any way. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Susan. You raised really good points there about supporting Boneni Ncube. So yes, so there are already discussions and the people are giving money towards the upkeep of that young child. But also there's the widow. So this is a woman that was married. She was due to have been presented to her husband on the 16th of March, and
Oh,
she's without a husband now.
that's so sad. I
Uh,
didn't know that. That's really sad.
yeah, it's so sad. So the 8-year-old is from his previous marriage.
Yes.
His first wife died of COVID. So it's real sadness all around. And Mboneni was a young man, so he had other obligations towards his family, to look after them. He's not there, but the movement is working to ensure that that financial support and that education
Mhm.
is provided for that child. And we look to you, we look to everybody that is here today. If you'd like to so we raise funds every time when we are on these spaces. We didn't do it specifically tonight, but we do put a call out, and we usually have a link where we direct people to fundraise so that that money goes into the pot, into the treasury of the CC movement, and then is directed to wherever it is needed, particularly for people that are murdered or die at the hands of the regime because of their activism. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to play us a song because we haven't listened to a song. So whilst we're discussing the sadness, we also want to celebrate Mboneni Ncube for his activism, and for standing in the gap for many of us. So I look at myself as someone that lives in the diaspora, and I really respect the people that are on the ground in Zimbabwe, because they are the people that are in the fire and they are fighting it and they're not afraid. And back to what co-host Barbara was saying, why is it that people in the diaspora are afraid when those on the ground are in the eye of the storm? So I'm just going to play us a song, and then we'll be finishing at about 8:30.
Remember the day when you had a dream for your children for a better Zimbabwe. The time has come. The time is right now for a change for a better Zimbabwe. The time has come. The time is right now for a change for a better Zimbabwe. The healthcare system is broken, but your health should be a priority. Your children have a right to an education. Oh wait, they should be your number one. Simuka, 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 Zimbabwe, Simuka. The yellow revolution has a dream for a good nation. Not a maze, Simuka, Zimbabwe. The yellow revolution.
think there's something wrong with network.
So there we had DJ Carol there with Simuka Zimbabwe on CC Yellow Friday, Friday Vibes Exchange Radio. Thank you so much for everyone that joined us tonight. I'm just going to round up now and I'm going to go to Helen. So if you'd like to speak, please unmute yourself and share your views as we round up for tonight.
Thank you, Champion Patricia. Thank you, co-host.
Okay, go ahead and speak.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay. I just want to condemn the brutal violence unleashed to Triple C by the ZANU-PF that led to the loss of life. As if it was not enough, they went on to our VP's house and lashed out also at the guard of Mbuya Biti's house. When is this going to stop? When will Zimbabwe learn mature politics of understanding each other? Why do they call for elections when they know that they are not ready to compete? This is very, very disheartening and it's very painful. We are mothers. Our hearts are crying. We continue losing our children in these elections. If the ZANU-PF doesn't want to compete with other parties, why are they calling for elections? I think we Zimbabweans we should start to stand up. I do agree with previous speakers who said that I think we are not doing enough to fight back this oppression. We have to try to stand up to them when they start these brutal attacks on us. I'm really, really disappointed, and my heart goes to the young family which was left by Mboweni, and I pass on my condolences to the wife and the father and his daughter. I'm really, really disheartened. I don't know how we can do it, but somehow we've got to come together and make the ZANU-PF know that when they call for elections are competitions. And when a competition is being taken, they are always winners. They are afraid of CCC. They thought Chamisa was just done. Now they are seeing that he has just come up and he's fighting, and people are rallying behind him, supporting him in full force. They don't want that. They start killing us, only to instill fear into people. All this is being done to instill fear. And of course, we are human. We are only human. People will end up fearing. But my advice is somehow, I don't know how, but we have to stand up to this brutal attacks on us. That is, thank you very much, host.
Thank you so much for that. Really appreciate that, and the calling out of the atrocities. It's really important that we raise our voices and call out. So we are going to conclude now, and we'll be back again next week at the same time. Friday Vibes with Change Radio. Um, touching on other topics. We didn't go through all of the topics today because some of our speakers dropped off, but I'm going to play the last song, and just to say thank you. Please, when these spaces come, do come on, do share, bring others. The more we are, the higher numbers, the more the message can get out to more people. So thank you so much for tonight. I'm just going to play us out with a song. Good night, good evening, good day, wherever you are. Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for having joined us. See you next week back on this platform. Bye bye.